If you've seen Avatar 2 and 3, you've probably noticed something strange. Humans on Pandora seem unstoppable, building massive cities and holding territory, despite a hostile planet and angry Na'vi clans. How is this even possible? Well, you're right to be curious. Bridgehead City proves humans aren't visiting Pandora anymore. They're moving in permanently. But why build a city this large after already being defeated once? And how did tens of thousands of humans end up there? Billions of miles from Earth. Let's find out. Earth failed, and Pandora became necessary. By the time humanity reached Pandora, Earth wasn't just slowly dying, it was collapsing, and fast. Decades of unchecked industrial expansion pushed the planet past its limits. Forests vanished faster than they could regrow. Clean air became a commodity, rationed like water. Fresh water itself was rationed. Entire ecosystems failed in sequence, triggering mass extinctions that never stopped. But environmental damage was only part of the problem. Earth's population surged past 20 billion people, far beyond anything the planet could sustainably support. Cities expanded vertically and underground. Resource wars became routine. Energy shortages destabilized governments. Entire regions turned uninhabitable, not because of one disaster, but because of many, piling up over time. At a certain point, the math stopped working. Humanity couldn't fix Earth fast enough, couldn't stabilize the population, couldn't stop the collapse. And that's where the conversation changed. At this scale, humanity didn't need another colony. It needed a replacement, a world that could eventually take pressure off Earth, or replace it entirely. And that necessity reshaped every decision that followed. Pandora wasn't chosen because it was perfect. It was chosen because it was possible. Compared to every other reachable world, Pandora offered advantages humanity couldn't ignore. Its gravity was close to Earth's. Its temperatures were survivable. And while its atmosphere was toxic, humans could function outdoors with nothing more than breathing assistance. No pressure suits, no extreme cold, just a mask. More importantly, Pandora's biosphere was staggeringly productive. Life thrived at every scale, producing resources faster than humans could extract them. And by interstellar standards, its location made it reachable, 4.37 light-years away. Expensive and slow, yes, but feasible. Pandora wasn't just a dream. It was the only door left open. With Earth failing and Pandora presenting the only viable alternative, humanity's first step onto the moon was inevitable. But the purpose of that first arrival would be very different from what would come later, from mining outpost to permanent settlement. The first humans to step onto Pandora weren't settlers. They were miners, scientists, and soldiers, sent to extract the most valuable resource the galaxy had ever known, unobtanium. Now, if you're not familiar with unobtanium, here's what you need to know. It's a rare, room-temperature, superconducting mineral found only on Pandora, worth millions per kilogram. It's the main reason humans risked colonization in the first place, driving both profit and technological research. Simply put, unobtanium isn't just valuable. It's the engine behind humanity's expansion on Pandora. Hell's Gate, officially the RDA Extrasolar Colony 01, wasn't designed for life. It was designed for profit. Buildings were utilitarian. Soldiers patrolled for security, not for community. Scientists monitored deposits, not ecosystems. Every effort was measured in tons of ore, in dollars per kilogram, in the bottom line. Survival came second. Efficiency came first. For the RDA, Pandora was a laboratory, and humans were merely the instruments. But then everything changed. The first war on Pandora erupted when humans, led by Colonel Quaritch, clashed with the Omaticaya clan over unobtanium. Despite their advanced weapons, humans were outmaneuvered and overwhelmed. Iwa, Pandora's neural network, coordinated the planet's wildlife. Banshees swarmed aircraft. Titanotheras crushed ground forces. Hell's Gate fell. Most humans were forced back to Earth, but the fight for Pandora was far from over. The first Pandora War didn't end human interest in the moon. It changed the strategy. Instead of blasting, digging, and retreating, the new plan was methodical. It wasn't enough to extract unobtanium. Humans needed to secure it, defend it, and make Pandora livable on their terms. This wasn't a surrender. It was a recalculation. The RDA returned 14 years later with a new vision, in the form of Bridgehead City. This time, humans weren't visiting. They were literally moving in. The first wave was small, 10 interstellar vessels carrying only a couple thousand personnel. But the infrastructure, the AI-driven construction systems, and the automated machines laid the groundwork for something monumental. The defeat taught the RDA an essential lesson. Brute force alone wouldn't conquer Pandora. Long-term presence, technological supremacy, and relentless engineering would. Humans didn't retreat from Pandora, they recalculated. And the result would transform a mining outpost into the largest off-world city humanity had ever attempted. Bridgehead City, humanity's fortress on Pandora. Now, let's talk about Bridgehead City itself. Because this place is massive, Bridgehead wasn't built in months for convenience. It was designed as humanity's permanent foothold, a replacement home for a species running out of options on Earth. The first wave of arrivals numbered just over 2,000 scientists, soldiers, and engineers, tiny in comparison to the city that would rise. Yet this was only the beginning. Construction was unlike anything on Earth. Autonomous hexbots worked day and night, welding, lifting, assembling massive structures dropped directly from orbit. AI-controlled 3D printers churned out entire buildings, walls, and industrial complexes in a fraction of the time human labor could. Forests were bulldozed, cleared, and sterilized to make way for wide streets, landing pads, and industrial zones. Bridgehead City wasn't just a city. It was a fortress, an industrial hub, and a staging ground for human expansion. All at once, the city itself is circular in design, about the size of Long Beach, California, with a city core around 6 miles wide, almost 10 kilometers. Around the city is a huge kill zone, a dead strip of land, 2 miles wide from the city walls to the nearby forest. All plants and animals are sterilized or destroyed. Clear line of sight for defense. The city is surrounded by nearly 20 miles of thick defensive walls, armed with heavy guns, missiles, and weaponry mounted on giant concrete towers. 3 land gates, 2 sea gates, 1 river gate, making it both a fortress and a port city. Inside, you'll find factories churning out metal and refining unobtanium, barracks for the military, air bases, landing zones, command and control centers, massive 40-story habitation modules dropped by the ISVs. Everything is optimized for survival, expansion, and extraction. Population growth exploded. Concept art and in-universe projections suggest the city already houses over 40,000 humans, with plans for millions. Now, you might be wondering, how is this possible when each interstellar vessel only carries 200 people? Great question. The answer lies in repeated arrivals, modular habitation pods, and Earth's deteriorating conditions, pushing mass migration. Over time, Bridgehead became more than a mining base. It became home. Yet numbers alone don't tell the story. Each resident represents a calculated risk, a commitment to human survival in a hostile environment. Every building, road, and vehicle was built not just for convenience, but for longevity. The RDA didn't just return to Pandora. They claimed it, and they're not leaving. Military, technology, and why humans didn't bring nukes. Now, here's something interesting. You might expect humans to bring their most powerful weapons to Pandora. Jets, tanks, maybe even nukes. But they didn't. And there's a very good reason for that. Humans on Pandora weren't reckless. They were calculating. The RDA didn't bring the most powerful weapons. They brought the most sustainable ones. Jets and drones are expensive, fragile, and require a continuous supply of rare materials. On Pandora, every resupply trip from Earth takes 5 or 6 years. Tanks are unwieldy in dense jungle terrain. Even nuclear weapons risked political and legal repercussions, potentially ending the company's monopoly, triggering sanctions from Earth authorities. Instead, the RDA relied on proven, modular, and repairable technology. Samson gunships, Scorpion attack craft, Dragon assault aircraft, AMP exosuits. Each vehicle could be maintained locally, flown by versatile pilots, adapted to both combat and industry. Ground troops used AMP suits to navigate the jungles with firepower that dwarfed conventional tanks, while air support focused on strategic strikes without overcomplicating logistics. This approach also explains the human loss in the First Pandora War. Humans weren't outmatched. They were tactically strong, but strategically vulnerable. Pandora itself intervened. Iowa coordinated the planet's wildlife, swarming aircraft with banshees, crushing ground forces under Titanother's feet, striking from all directions. The RDA's loss wasn't a failure of technology. It was a failure to account for a world that fought back. When they returned in 2168, the RDA had learned. Bridgehead City and its defenses were built not to show off power. They were built to survive. Military planning, technology, and population expansion are all intertwined. Every soldier, every vehicle, every automated defense ensured that humanity's foothold on Pandora wasn't temporary. It was permanent. The future of Pandora and humanity's expansion The true measure of humanity's ambition on Pandora isn't the weapons or the technology, it's the city itself. Bridgehead isn't a temporary mining outpost. It's a metropolis designed to last. A concrete declaration that humans are no longer visitors, they're settlers. When the RDA returned in 2168, they brought only 2,000 people across 10 ISVs. At first glance, that number seems small, insufficient to create the massive city depicted in concept art. Yet Bridgehead City rapidly grew, thanks to repeated ISV arrivals, habitation modules, and automated construction technologies. Hexbots and massive 3D printers worked non-stop, producing entire buildings, walls, and industrial facilities in months, not decades. By the time the city was fully operational, concept art suggests upwards of 42,000 humans lived within its walls. And the city was designed to accommodate up to 2 million. 2 million. Let that sink in for a moment. That's not a colony. That's a civilization. The population growth on Pandora isn't just about numbers. It's about a species determined to survive. Earth's collapse, combined with Pandora's resources, created a perfect storm. Migration pressure, technological support, ruthless efficiency. Over time, humans may even adapt biologically to the planet, potentially removing the need for breathing masks altogether. We've already seen hints of this with Spider in the movies. You know what I'm talking about. From the Na'vi perspective, Bridgehead represents encroachment, devastation, the rise of an unstoppable force. From humanity's perspective, it's hope, opportunity, survival. Pandora has shifted from a frontier to a battleground, and Bridgehead City stands at its heart. So, that's the human city on Pandora, Bridgehead City, and how tens of thousands of humans now call this alien moon home. The real question remains, is Pandora humanity's salvation or the beginning of the planet's end? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next breakdown. Until next time, take care.